Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christine Curzio. I run a merchant processing company called Simply Payments. I've been in this industry for over 25 years, very long time. And today's presentation is going to talk to you briefly about accepting payments, a lot of tips and tricks. This is a very difficult industry. If anyone has any questions, you can type up the questions in the chat, take my name and information. You can always reach out to me afterwards or contact Leslie and she knows how to get in touch with me. But if you are new to the payments industry, this is for you. If you already have a merchant account or have one in the past and know a little bit about it, this is also for you. This is some very helpful information. So let's get started. Payments, it has a lot to do with demographics. If you look at 20 and 30-year-olds, no one carries cash anymore. Anyone that's maybe 40 and above, we carry cash. So you have to look at your demographic. If you're starting your business, who are you selling it to? A lot of, I have two kids, 22 and 24, and they're all about Zelle and Venmo and credit cards, nothing about cash. So you have to keep that in mind as well. But let's get started about taking payments and how you can start to take payments and what this is actually all about. I think the best thing is to take a look at the table of contents so that you guys know what we're going to be talking about. Why do we need to take them? There's various ways to take them, how to choose the best processor. Top 5 questions. I get this all the time. There's always a million questions, but I put together a list of the top 5 because I'm sure that you'll have those same questions. And then people talk about debit rates, credit rates, cash discounts. So we're going to go over that as well. So you wonder why you have to take payments. The reason is because everybody has a different method of payment. Some people don't always have cash in the bank, and that's why they want to use their credit card. Not only that, but they have rewards associated with their credit card, so they want to use their credit card. So that's why you want to be able to offer someone a variety of payment methods when they're paying for your goods or products or services. One of the things that we do is I really advocate for the business owner. So it's not just all about making money. Of course, I'm in this, to make money. We all start a business to make money, but I want to help the business owner. I want to be able to say to you, I think that you should go to either Chase or Bank of America or whatever other bank and take a Zelle payment. Now, Simply Payments does not get paid for anything having to do with Venmo or Zelle. However, since I'm a business owner and you guys are business owners, I want to be able to explain that Zelle and Venmo are free services. So in addition to me presenting about credit card processing, I want to offer a business owner the best possible solutions. So that's what Simply Payments does as well. Now, why do we want, as a business owner, to take payments? As I mentioned before, you want to look at the target market. If you're selling cookies versus selling autos or versus selling, t-shirts, you have to really look at that and think about who your age group is that you're selling to. And you want it to be convenient for them. A lot of the young ones don't want to and don't have cash. So this is why I bring this up. And this is very important because as you're selling in your future, you'll talk to people and you'll ask them, what's the best way to take payments? Some people are totally against credit cards. Some people are totally against cash. So you just need to know who your demographic target market is. Now, why do you want to offer electronic payments, as we call them, either mobile payments or sending someone a link for an invoice? Because it's going to reduce any money that you owe, which is called outstanding receivables. And when you take credit cards, your funds are deposited the very next day by 10 a.m. If you don't want to sit near your phone all the time and take phone calls from people and giving you their credit card information, we also offer services that are included, and they're free, that you can send someone a link in an email or a text. It'll come directly to their phone or their email. They click on that link. And as you know, as business owners, we are busy, 24/7. A lot of times I don't get a chance to pay my bills until 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I say, oh my gosh, totally forgot to pay this person's invoice. Now I have the link. I can pay it at midnight if I want. And if it's paid, if your customers pay you before 7 p.m. Eastern Time, those funds will be deposited in your bank account associated with your merchant account by 10 a.m. the very next day. We also integrate with QuickBooks and other accounting software. So if you have nonprofit or if you have another company and you need to track the donations versus the people that are donating, send receipts to them, this system is comprehensive. So we're able to do all of that as well. So what different types of ways can you take payments? Well, obviously there's credit cards, there's ACH transfers. Now, I did have someone recently ask me about ACH transfer. That's bank to bank money. So again, that's something that Simply Payments does not get paid for, or Venmo or Zelle or cash, but I want to be able to offer you, a wide gamut of different ways of accepting online payments. So depending on what bank you have, I believe TD Bank may charge $20 to $25 if you want to do an ACH transfer. I know there are some other banks out there that offer that for free. You have to be in business for over 2 years to do that. So we also offer merchant processing. Let's just say, for instance, one of our companies we use is authorized.net or NMI. They also offer ACH. Sometimes it may take anywhere between 5 and 7 business days to get that ACH information into your account, which is not the smartest, especially in this day and age. You want your money fast. And there are some other companies that do it like a bank within, 5 minutes. Same thing with Zelle and Venmo. So I just want to offer you the different solutions and the many methods that you can take payments online. Now, a traditional merchant account is what Simply Payments offers. So we offer availability for you to take payments on your smartphone. We have different apps that you can download to your smartphone that are free. You can also do a virtual terminal, which is your computer. We would send you a username and a password. You would log on to a specific website. Wherever you have an internet connection is where you're able to process payments online. So that would be called the virtual terminal, because it's not actually a terminal that we give you. Now, in addition, we also have terminals, which are also called POS, point of sale services. Whenever you go to the pizzeria or restaurant, you'll see the big computer that they have. We also offer smaller terminals that sit right on the desktop if you need one of those. Some of those range in price anywhere between $200 and $400. They are a lot less expensive these days than they used to be in the past, but most business owners usually have a point of sale system. I know you've heard of Square, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Or your smartphone. If you're a business that travels, unless you have a retail storefront, then you can talk to me and we'll talk about setting you up with a small terminal or a point of sale service. If you're selling your products or services online, that's e-commerce, and we also offer that as well. Shopping carts, they're integrated. Some are more popular than others. WooCommerce, BigCommerce. So we can always talk about that too. So what I want everyone to understand too is I don't want you to be afraid of your smartphone. Even though we offer payments on the phone and we offer apps that are free, you can send a text message to someone with a link and it's safe. The person would have their own credit cards in their own phone or in their wallet, and they're also able to use the smartphone or virtual terminal with all of the products that we offer. So if you have any questions about any of those products, let us know. I can be specific with you off of outside of this call, we can talk separately after this if you'd like. But we do offer many different types of products for you. So let's go into real quick, very quickly, on what some of the solutions are. So the virtual terminal or the gateway, it's an online payment system. So again, anywhere you have an internet connection, you're able to log in. It's safe. It's not on your PC. The link that you'll type in goes to a third party PCI compliant software. So there's nothing on your computer or in your home or anywhere that you can possibly be compromised for. How do you use a gateway without a website? It's just a link that we give you. We provide you with the username and password, and you'll have to keep that safe, and you'll log in. And you don't need a website at all to take payments. You can take payments for something that you have in boxes in your kitchen, and all you need is a username and a password, and we'll set that up for you. Now, this is very important. How do you choose the best processor? There's so many out there, and as much as it pains me to say this, the merchant services business sometimes could be a little shisty. There are a lot of people out there, and you'll notice, you see what's going on in the world and in the news, that people are always trying to take advantage. They want to take your money. They advertise a website. It looks great, but then all of a sudden you get a phone call and they're looking for money. So you have to be super careful. What is the easiest and best way to choose a processor? Contact me. I'd be happy to help you. There's so many valid companies that are out there, but go online and Google them. Make sure they're reputable. So how do you make sure they're reputable? You Google them and you look at their reviews and their stars. You can ask me. You can ask your friends. Call the Stony Brook Business Development Center and ask them as well. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you ask them in writing for the rates and the fees, and if there's any annual fees, and are there termination fees. Believe it or not, and I'm going to show you in a few moments, there is a contract that you have to sign because Visa runs the organization. They want to make sure that you're not going to be committing any fraud. So there is a small contract that you sign. It's usually a 1-year contract, and it runs over every year, automatically renews. So in that contract, some of these companies, credit card processing companies, will add a termination fee. We've had termination fees as high as $595. And you're not paying attention. You're so excited. You're starting your business. You want to sign up with someone and you forget to look at some of the fine print. And if you have questions about it, send me the contract. I'll be happy to take a look at it for you. But if after 1 month you're not happy, you're able to cancel whatever contract you have, regardless of what's in that contract. However, after 6 months or a year or maybe 2 years, you decide that this is not for you, or you want to change and you want to cancel. Sometimes if that termination fee is in your contract, which is also called an ETF, which is an early termination fee, and that's how they put it into your contract as an ETF, they will your bank account is linked with them, and they will automatically deduct that amount of money from your bank account. Getting it back into your bank is a little bit difficult. So just check the contracts before you sign anything. And again, I know exactly where to look for this, and I'm going to show you in just a few moments. Feel free to reach out to me. I don't mind helping a business owner who needs a little bit of help with this. So here we go. This is what a contract looks like. This is called MAP, Merchant Application Plan. It's a merchant application agreement. It outlines all of your rates and fees. And if you'll notice, do you see where I have additional surcharges of 2.3% on top of the rate that you're paying? Some of these guys add this in here, so you have to be careful about this. Now, what you also want to do is look at the bottom on the right. You'll see it highlighted in yellow. Cancellation during the term. Some of them will have a 1 year or a 3-year term. So cancellation during the term will result in a $595 early termination fee. We can easily get them to cross that out or take it out of the contract, but just be careful with merchant processing when you're signing some contracts. The other thing I wanted to talk about is how many other platforms there are out there. Everyone has heard of Stripe. Everyone has heard of Square, PayPal, and then there's Simply Payments, which is my company. So PayPal and Square and Stripe are my competition. However, I love Square. If you're a business owner that's starting out small and you want to grow later, Square is a perfect solution for you. Of course, I would love for you to be set up with Simply Payments, which is my company, but Square is so simple to set up. All you need to do is give them a call. They'll send you something in the mail or they'll set you up right away. It's usually within 24 hours. They'll ask you for your business ID or your tax ID, your social security to make sure that you haven't any past history of any fraud or any banking issues or have been arrested. But usually it's within 24 hours and they set you up right away. If you think you're going to be processing $5,000 a month or less, Square is the perfect company to go with. They are very easy to work with over the phone, and they'll give you a username and a password as well. You log in, you're able to process transactions on your phone, on your computer, as well as run any kind of reports and set up alerts. So anytime, and if you do have a website or if you do charge something, they'll send you alerts of when you received funds, if you have any questions. Square is a very simple, easy company to use, and I do highly recommend them if you are, a little bit of a smaller business and want to take payments and want to set it up right away. Stripe and PayPal are a little tricky. We've had some issues with PayPal and Stripe, and you'll read about it in the news. PayPal is huge. Their rates are right here in front of you. Now, the problem with PayPal and Stripe is the bigger you get, the more of a target you have on your back. So there has been some fraud going on with PayPal. So you just want to be careful. PayPal is a universal company. They take payments from everywhere, overseas, domestic, international. But if you're a small business and you think you're only going to be doing business on Long Island or New York or the tri-state area, I would recommend Square for a smaller company. Again, as I mentioned, I would love to set you up with my company with Simply Payments, and I can certainly help you with that and any other questions that you might have. So I think that if anybody has any questions, and Leslie, do we have any questions
Oh,
in
we
the chat?
certainly do.
Okay, let's take.
Okay, Christina's asking, are you familiar with Bank of America services? She was contacted by Bank of America and have a call set up for them today.
Yes, I am familiar with Bank of America. Bank of America had partnered with a company years ago called First Data, but they've partnered with other companies, Fiserv, which is now what the company is called. So I offer the exact same rates that they offer. So some of the questions, what I would definitely do is meet with Bank of America today, ask them how you get in touch with them if you have a problem, because everybody is so quick to sell you real quick what you want. But when you have a problem, that's when you want someone's phone number and a name and be able to speak to someone right away because it affects your payments. So find out if they have a customer service group, what their hours are. And again, those few questions that I had at the beginning, you want to ask them what the rates and fees are, get it in writing, tell them to email it or send it to you. You want to know if there's termination fees. But I would definitely take that call. And if you'd like to call me afterwards and we can talk about other rates and fees and what happened with Bank of America, definitely let me know. Chase also has the same exact feature. So all of the banks offer merchant processing. They hook up with The larger processors, there's about 5 to 7 large merchant processing companies out there. I work with all of them depending on what my merchant and what my business owner wants. If I have a business owner that's doing e-commerce, I may put them on this platform. If I have a business that's only selling out of their kitchen and their products are in a box right in their house, I may use this processor instead. So it depends on what type of business you have. If you're selling online, in a store, retail, and if you're high risk, if you're a skydiving company, your rates may be a little bit higher because your risk for fraud is a little bit higher. And some of these processing companies don't want to take a big chance on a high risk business. So there's a few different factors that play in when we're talking about rates as well. And we'll go over that in a few moments. Next question, Leslie.
I'm sorry, I'm here. She wants to know, Katie would like to know, have you ever heard of Clover?
Yes, I've heard of Clover. Clover is owned by one company called Fiserv. It used to be First Data. Clover is very, very similar to Square. Clover is very popular. A lot of people love it. One of the things about Clover, and I like it as well, but there are some expensive monthly rates with it. I believe to start, it might be $30 per month for the Clover. They would give you a free Clover system, but a lot of places will offer you a free terminal or a free system um, to start with. I would suggest if you're thinking of Clover, I would call Square as well. They offer the same exact type of an iPad device, but they are a lot less expensive and their reporting is just as great. I think that Clover is very good. And if you look in some of the stores and you go into some of these small businesses in the neighborhoods, you'll see a lot of people have Clover, but a lot also have Square as well. So don't rule out Square. I also offer iPad devices. They're not called Clover or Square, they're called something different, but they all do the same, they all offer the same functionality. So, yes, Clover is very good. It's very easy, and there are apps that are integrated into Clover as well as Square for anything, payroll, loyalty programs, all sorts. So, if you need any further questions answered on that, let me know. Do we have any other questions, Leslie?
No, we do not yet.
Okay, so let's go into a couple of the questions from the business owners. So you see, the number one is what is my rate? And then we have a few other questions here too. So let's go into what is my rate. So it's not as simple as throwing out a percentage. Oh, well, I could get 2% for this. Okay. However, we need to know what type of business you have. And when I say what type, is it an online? Is it a retail business? Now, brick and mortar is a store, or it's an online business. Now, your merchant category code is something that you always need that determines what type of business you have. So these are going to generate the rates. Like I said, if you are a high risk company, like a skydiving company that operates in Orlando, Florida, your rates are going to be a little bit higher because there is more of a risk for fraud, and especially when you take payments online, e-commerce. So for instance, retail bookstore would have lower rates because you're walking in there with the credit card in hand and it's not a stolen card. Some people may find a card on the floor, try to use that. So there's all different levels of risk, and that is what determines your rate. So keep that in mind. So when you ask a merchant processing company for a rate, you have to let them know what type of business you're in and how you're going to take those payments. Are you going to present a card to them, a credit card, or are you going to do your services online? So that's pretty important. What is the convenience fee that's passed to the customers? So a lot of you now, you're going out to restaurants and you're seeing there's a 3% fee that you're responsible for paying. And think of it as a business owner. You guys are business owners. You're trying to save money. Even though I work for Simply Payments, it's my own company. I work with many big processing companies. I don't make the rules, and it does get me upset that they keep coming up with increased rates, increased fees, and passing them on to the business owner. So as a consumer, and I'm purchasing, a pizza, let's just say, and I have to get charged 3%, yes, I am a little upset about it, but I'm also thinking of the business owner. He's getting hit with so many fees and so many charges that he's trying to offset his costs. Now, mostly these companies offer 3%, but what a lot of the companies don't know is you don't have to go with 3%. You can actually pass along 1%, 2%, and I believe it's up to 4% to the customer. It's not just 3%, but that's the average of a transaction. And that would guarantee the business owner does not have any fees to pay to the merchant processing company, because the 3% will really cover all the costs. So this is what you'll see. Now, it is supposed to be disclosed on the receipt at the bottom. It'll give you that amount, and it'll tell you if you pay cash, this is what your fee is. If you don't pay cash, and sometimes they refer to it, if you look on the screen on the bottom, you'll see non-cash adjustment, and that's what it's referred to. And it'll give you that total price. So the base amount was $56.25, and then they're adding 2.25 to that, which is 3%. So that's what the convenience fee, or it's also known as cash discount fee. All businesses are supposed to have a sign at the front door, or maybe not the front door, or where the credit card terminal is. Can you report these companies? Yes, you can, but keep in mind, this is a business owner. He may not even understand or know that he's supposed to add a sign. So you can nicely tell him, I understand you're trying to recoup your costs, but you're supposed to put a sign up so that me as a customer understand that I'm going to be charged a little bit extra for this. So when are funds deposited in my account? This is the top third question that people ask me. Some merchant processing companies take 2 days to fund your money. You should only have that funded within 1 day. If you deposit, or if you take a payment by 7 p.m., sometimes it's 6 p.m., and sometimes it could be as late as 9 p.m., you'll have your money in your bank account the very next day. Now, are there instances where the money is not there? Yes. I had someone call me recently and say, Christine, I'm missing $20,000 of funds. It's Monday morning. Where's my money? It turns out that out of the $20,000 worth of funds, there must have been 50 transactions. There were 2 of them that were questionable, so the whole batch was held. But I wouldn't know that because I don't have access to your bank and to your information. So you text me, you call me, and you say, Christine, what's going on? Where's my money? I make a couple of phone calls and I'll have an answer to you within the hour. So that's the benefit of working with a company like mine, is that you have access to my cell phone, you have access to my email and me. If I can't answer your question, I'll reply right back to you and say, I will find out, I will get right back to you. So when you call Chase or Bank of America or these other processors, that's what you also need to ask them. What is their customer service turnaround time? So question number 4, what type of monthly fees will I pay? Not only will you pay the fees for the credit card processing, but my charges are $25 a month. Below are some fees that some other companies charge. For instance, Heartland didn't tell any of their customers that they were going to be charging an annual government reporting fee. And that was back in, over a year and a half ago. It was called the regulatory fee on their statement. And they were really ticked off about it because they charged their customers in December. Now, December is the busiest month of the year because everyone is spending money. Credit card sales are the highest in November, or Black Friday, and December because of the shopping days, and everyone's using their card. So when you see a merchant statement that you get in the mail every month, which by law you have to receive a copy of that, you'll see some of the descriptions of the fees, the explanation, and the amounts on that merchant statement. The only fee that I have on mine is for $25, and it's for, we call it the customer support or the account fee. That's what that's for. But you should be able to look at your statement and see any type of fees you want. If you're currently taking payments and you have a statement and you don't know what one of those is, send it over to me. I'd be happy to take a look at it and tell you what it means. So number 5, what's the final, and it's not the final question, but it is the top 5 questions. Why do the salespeople, like for instance, I'm known as a salesperson, but I'm also my business owner. Why do I need your merchant statement? Because the merchant statement shows so much information. It's not about just about how much you're processing in volume and credit card transactions each month, but it tells me the type of cards that you take. If you have a statement and you look at it, I'll be able to tell whether or not you're taking a Discover card, Amex, Visa, and then there's codes next to those cards. Some of them say DR for debit rate. Some say CR for credit rate. So that tells me what your credit rate is, your debit rate. And it'll also tell me, for instance, where your, say for instance, if you own a deli and you're taking payments, and I see a lot of, let's see, AMEX, Amex, BD, business debit, or business BC, business credit. You're in a financial hub in Melville at a deli and you're using your corporate card. Rates for corporate cards are more money. So for the merchant, for the business owner. So unfortunately, the person who owns a deli in Melville and he takes a lot of business cards, his fees for taking those payments are going to be a little bit higher than for someone who's down the block from me on a small street in, let's just say, Nesconset or Smithtown or Hauppauge, because it's a local deli and you're using regular, let's just say regular vanilla cards. So depending on the type of card, that is also the type of rate the merchant, as the business owner, is going to pay. There's so many different types of rates and fees. That's why it's so great when you can provide either a merchant statement for someone that if you're already processing, and if not, I'll help you decipher that if you're a new business. But this is why the sales agents ask you for a merchant statement. It gives you all kinds of information. It also tells us whether or not you have any chargebacks. One of my merchants is a dating service, and every once in a while she'll receive a chargeback. It's not her fault. But for instance, you sign up for a dating service, you're expecting to have, a couple of people call you within, the first week. Sometimes if the dating person doesn't receive any dates within the first 2 or 3 weeks, they get annoyed. They'll call their credit card company and say, it didn't work. I'm not getting my money's worth. I want my money back. That's known as a chargeback. And that comes up as a negative on your statement and as the merchant. So you want to be careful of chargebacks. But that's what the statement shows, not only chargebacks, but it shows you refunds and your processing. And every month that you process, if you look on your last page of your merchant statement, you'll see the total cumulative processing for the past several months. So the merchant statement does show a lot of information. So now we get back to interchange rates. That's what they're called. What is my rate? What is my rate? So the rates are set by Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. And there's specific rates depending on the type of industry you're in. If you are a nonprofit or a charity organization, your rates are less than 1.75%. If you have a retail store, your rates are also less than 1.69%. If you're a high risk or auto rental or an adult online or a gaming site, those rates are going to be 3%, maybe higher. I had someone who was quoting a 7% rate for an online e-commerce site. It's expensive. It could get up there. So you need to ask what the rates and fees are and get that in writing. One of the other important things is twice a year, April and October, Visa increases their rates and fees. And it's, no two ways about it. Every April and every October. It's called the spring release in April and the fall release in October. And the rates always go up. It's automatic. You don't have to do anything. Your customers will be charged more money, and it'll help offset your rates and fees as well. But there are over 300 rates and fees that Visa and MasterCard, Amex, and Discover offer. And actually, this should have said April 2024. It's updated, as I mentioned, twice. So these rates here, there's over 300. You can have a PIN debit rate, a signature debit. A retail means you're walking into a store, and MOTO, mail order, telephone order. It means the card physically is not going to be present. So the rates are a little higher because the risk for fraud is just a little higher. So if you're shopping online or you call in, for instance, the pizzeria down the block, a lot of times you might know that they don't like to take the credit card over the phone. They say, no, 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 bring it in when you get here. But you're paying pizza for someone else that's going to pick it up for you. Do you know why they don't want to take the card over the phone? Because their rate is higher. Look at the retail card. If you were to walk into the pizzeria, this is what the business owner would pay, 1.51%. But if you give him that card over the phone, now he's paying 1.89. And it's the same person, the same card, everything is the same. But why? Because Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover realize that that card could be anyone's card. The risk of fraud is a little bit higher, so they're going to add a couple of percentage points on that. And look at the rates on e-commerce. E-commerce are about the same as card not present as well when you're shopping online at Amazon, Target, whatever. So keep those in mind. When I offer a lot of these classes here and I do these webinars, I like to talk about this from the perspective of the business owner because they do get charged a lot of fees. And I know you want to sell products and services. Unfortunately, sometimes the credit card rates are a little bit higher, but I'm trying to help the business owner and minimize your out-of-pocket costs. So I think if you need any type of rates, or if you have a specific business and you want to ask me what your rates are going to be, let me know and get the rates in writing so that you have it, in an email. Leslie, do we have any other questions?
Yes, we do. We have three. I'm going to
Okay.
back on back all the way up. Uh, Katie, I'd like to hold yours. No, we'll do yours now. Katie says, I run a 501c3 foundation. We've had PayPal and it works fine. We already bought their Zelle devices. However, they dump the aggregate amount of donations and don't attribute them to the donors. She'd like a system that credits individual donors.
Okay. We can work with that. Why don't you take my information and call me after? I have 3 nonprofits. I also just spoke with someone the other day who is having the exact same issue. She's having donors and she needs to make sure that they track what the donors donate, the name of the person, the amount. So why don't we talk afterwards and I can certainly help you with that. And I can also put you in touch, if you like, with my current merchants and they can explain to you how easy or hard or the challenges are with that. So contact me after and we'll work on that because
We'll
that definitely is important.
we'll get the contact information out to all the attendees.
Okay.
Christina asks, even though you gave an explanation, she'd really like an explanation. Isn't it illegal to pass the fee on to the customer?
There's a few different, no, it's not illegal to pass it on to the customer. Um, in New York, we're not allowed to use something called surcharging. If it's a surcharge, that is illegal in New York. This is not surcharge. It's called the cash discount or the non-adjusted price. Now, if a merchant wants to charge that fee, there has to be a sign in the store somewhere near the credit card terminal that specifically states what the rate is. And they are supposed to be able to take either cash, which would be, $100, or if they're going to add 3%, if you're going to use a credit card, it has to be outlined on someplace near in the store. It definitely needs to be shown in the store. So it's not illegal to charge the 3%. And some people charge 1%, 2%. Most of it's 3%. But it has to be outlined in a document in the store so that the customers are aware that there is an extra fee if they use their credit card.
Jessica asks, for the holiday season, does it make sense to have multiple platforms to capture all different types of payments, in-person vendor fairs, e-commerce, different social media platforms? After the holiday season, can she go back to one processing payment service?
Okay, so I definitely do not recommend more than one because that means you'll have to submit at least 5 to 7 documents to each one of the processors. You'll have to submit your tax ID information, a checking account, your social security. They will be running background checks on you. It's not a full-fledged background. They want to make sure that there's no fraud involved. So for every processor that you want to use, you'll have to submit that information. That's number one. The second is you want to find one processor that handles your online sales, maybe a flea market sale, a smartphone sales, links, text messages, emails. You want to find one solution. And I offer that solution and many others as well. Again, Square. If you want to call Square when we get off the phone today, they offer different solutions. They offer online links, text messaging, invoicing. Mostly every credit card processing company now offers invoicing. So you really want to try to stick with one. And then don't forget, for everyone you sign up with, you have to look at that statement that they're going to send you with the rates and the fees and the contract. Because if in January or February you decide to cancel 2 or 3 of them, they may charge you a cancellation fee and take $500 right out of your bank account. So make sure you get that statement and you take a look at it. You don't want to pay any cancellation fees.
All right, that seems to be the end of the questions for now.
Okay, great. So here we go again with the rates and the fees explained. So this is a little bit of a busy slide, and we can certainly talk about this offline if you want. We can give you a copy of this presentation, but the different cards have different rates, and it affects the rate that you're going to pay. Most of you might have, 2 or 3 different rates. You have a debit rate and you have credit rate. Um, but it depends on the type of business you're in. And as I mentioned earlier, rewards cards. Now, every one of us has a rewards card, I'm sure, and you get, points, whether it's points or money. Um, Jennifer Garner on Capital One, she's always talking about the rewards cards. So who do you think pays you for those rewards? So I get points when I travel. I get an extra dollar for this. Where does that come from? It doesn't come from Visa. It doesn't come from Chase or Bank of America. It comes from you, the business owner. So that's why when you take a rewards card or a corporate card, your rates and fees are higher because American Express is giving you their corporate card and you're getting a 1% back on all purchases. Where are they getting the money to give you back that 1%? They're charging the merchants, they're charging the business owners the extra percentage so that they can get that money and give it to the people that have the rewards cards. So yes, corporate cards, rewards cards are a little bit higher. Um, the lowest rates ever are debit. So you can do a something that's called, let me just go back real quick here, PIN debit and signature debit. So signature debit is when you have a physical card and it's your debit card and it's linked to your checking account. You give that card to wherever you're going shopping, and the money will be deducted directly from your checking account. It's different than a credit card because credit cards are not linked to your checking account. However, that's a signature debit. You have to sign for that card and it comes out of your checking account. If you use something called the PIN debit, look at that rate. It's 0.05 cents and 22 cents. It comes out to less than 30 cents a transaction. So if you want to take a PIN debit and there is no cash discount or any cash adjustment on PIN debit cards. So as a business, if you want to only take PIN debit or debit cards, comes right out of the person's checking account. There's always a guarantee that you'll get paid. And the rates are very, very low, as you can see here. So these are some of the different rate offerings that Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover can offer. So that's when we talk about the different card types and how debit and PINs have lower rates than credit because there's low risk. Why is it low risk? Because the money's already in your bank account. And if you don't have the money in your bank account, the transaction gets denied. So it checks it immediately within 2 seconds to see if the money is in your bank account, and then it'll pay that debit card for you. So credit versus debit. You can see on the card itself that there will be something that says debit. It'll usually say the word debit, and that's how you can tell whether it's a debit or a credit card. But credit rates go anywhere. You can be charged as a business owner anywhere between 2.5% to 4%. Granted, there are some categories like charity events that are under 2%. And in order for you to be eligible for some of those, we do need paperwork and we do need your forms, your charity forms, and we have to submit that information to the processor. And as you recall, PIN debit does require a PIN. Signature debit, when you sign it, does not need a PIN. So these are some of the different rates between debit and credit. Now, if you're already taking credit cards, and even if you're not and you'd like to set up credit cards, I suggest every 6 months or maybe 7 or 8 months, you get your credit card statement at the very top of it. It shows you the statement period. It gives you your merchant ID. I wiped it out on this slide, but there's a phone number, customer service number. So the 2 pieces of information that you need to call the company and ask them for a rate review are your merchant number and, of course, the customer service number. And if you want me to be on the phone with you, with them, I would certainly be happy to do it since I speak the language and you don't want them to bamboozle you on different rates and fees and technology and terminology. So I'd be happy to help you with that. Leslie, do we have any questions?
Oh, not yet.
Okay, great, great. So this is, so the next slide, it shows you what's required to open up a brand new account. So if you're going to work with me, I send you an email and I outline all the documents. It's not a lot. It's just a few documents right here. The SS4 form is from the IRS. It shows your tax ID number, and I do need that. We also need a valid driver's license. And when I say valid, you'd be surprised how many people forget that their driver's license has expired. And we need one that's not expired. I also need a voided check with your business name on it that shows your DDA number and your account number and your routing number so the money goes into your bank account correctly. Now, a new business may not have voided checks, and you might not ever need voided checks, and you might not want to pay for voided checks. I get that all the time. All you have to do is call your bank, and they know this, and they know exactly what you need. All you need is a bank letter for your merchant processor. And what they do is it's already a canned letter in their system. It tells them on letterhead what the name of their bank, your bank is, and it'll state your name and your address and that you have a valid bank account. And here is your routing number and here is your account number. And you just email that to me. It's very simple. They do it in 2 seconds and it's already a canned letter in their system. If you're already processing, then I would like to see the last statement or two because I need to make sure that the rates I'm quoting you are better than what you have now. And I also need to see if you have any chargebacks or anything else that looks a little funky on your merchant statement. Number 4, the most recent bank statement. So the bank statements are going to show that you are doing business. I know it's might seem a little intrusive, but everything that I collect is confidential. It doesn't go anywhere. It is in a secure folder, so you don't have to worry about that. You can also block off some information, but what the processor wants to see is if you're already processing, they want to make sure that you're a valid business. And of course, we need your social security number. I don't need your card. I just need the number because they do a soft credit to make sure that you haven't been in jail for bank fraud in the past. So that's why we need these certain types of documents. So KYC is what it's been called. A lot of you are familiar with that, and it's know your customer. So that's what we need. So when the merchant processing companies ask you for these documents, don't cringe, it's standard, but you want to make sure, as I had said on slide number 1, that you want to Google the credit card processing company and make sure they're valid. There are a lot of Google reviews out there now. Some of them are better than others. And if you're not sure, ask some of your business owners. And if you don't know a business owner, walk into any store and say, hey, I'm thinking of starting a merchant account. I have a new business. Do you like your processor? Who are you using? And they'd be happy to tell you. You know, business owners, we like each other. We want to help each other. So just ask around. And of course, you can always ask me if you need any help with that. So how easy is it to accept credit cards online? It's very simple. If you're doing $5,000 or less, I would suggest after you get off the call, call Square. I would love to have your business. But if you're looking for something right away, within a day, and you need to take payments right away, and you are processing under $5,000 per month, Square is easy and simple. Square.com, go online. You can read about it. I like them a little bit better than Clover. Clover is excellent. And again, I would love to work with you at my company as a traditional merchant processor, so I can certainly help you with that as well. And if you have any other difficulties with setting up, if you need to send links, send invoices, do something with charities or separate payments, call me and we can work it out. We'll set up a conference. So also the easy steps for credit cards online is if you have a website, that's a different ball game. You want to configure, you know, with your web developer, any of your e-commerce settings and your sales tax for different states. There's programs out there that do this automatically for you. So don't feel that this is an overwhelming process. And again, if you need an IT person or a web developer, reach out to me. I have a couple of great ones. I've worked with some that are very, very expensive and not really worth it. But I do know a few people, and I'm sure you guys know people, and the Small Business Development Center knows a ton of people that can help you. And then what you want to do is we'll set up your products on the website. I don't do that. Your web developer would with you. And then you can also create invoices, receipts, and you can create a link and you can text or email that link to your customers if they want to purchase something on your website or purchase something later. So there are many different offerings that we have that we can help set up online cards. Leslie, do we have any questions at this moment?
No, we do not.
Okay, so these are some of my clients. Of course, I can't put everyone on here, but some of the names you might recognize. And I am going to show you the next slide has my contact information on it so that you can contact me directly. Go to my website. And if you have any questions or any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. But for now, that is the overview of taking payments for your business. And if you have any questions, I'm open.